Hello, my name is Jason Millette. Currently, we are going to be going over the frozen breakfast different meals. We're going to compare them at the end, but at first, I'm just going to give you a really brief overview of all of them. We're going to start. The first thing we'll start with is Kellogg's Eggo Minis. You can see here on the photo, there are 4 in one serving. Ironically enough, I found out that the serving size is only 3 waffles, even though there are 4 attached to them. Thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, in that one serving size, you get 240 calories, 10% of your fat, 24% of your sodium, 6% of your carbs, and virtually no protein. It's small in the realm of vitamins, doesn't offer a lot. It does do pretty good when compared to other breakfast foods, especially frozen. So let's see, we have 20% calcium, iron, vitamin A, phosphorus, and niacin, and 10% of your B12 and B6. It does have, when I look at the ingredients, the only thing that really catches my eye that I had to look up was something called a soy lecithin, which is essentially an emulsifier that just holds 2 liquids together. Kind of weird that it'd be put in Kellogg's Eggo. I looked, and when you compare it to other breakfast foods, especially frozen, it's actually not too uncommon, especially in a lot of Kellogg's brand. Looked it up. It's not harmful, except for in a very excessive doses to the human body, so not too bad. When looking at the serving size that I mentioned and looking at how much it costs, which is $2.39 per box, what comes out to is about 80 cents a serving. It's not super filling or super nutritious, but it's pretty cheap. Next, we'll go to another product from Kellogg's, looking at the Kellogg's Eggo Nutrigain. They are slightly healthier, offering also a little bit less calories, coming at 170, and offering a little bit more protein. Everything else is about the same. Fat level, sodium level, all of that's pretty much the same. Vitamin content, really it is, you're just getting a little more protein, a little less calories. Serving size is 2 waffles, which they're a little bit bigger. The other ones are the minis. These are actually the full-size waffles. And you get 5 servings, which is pretty nice. It actually comes out to a little bit less, comes out to 75 cents per serving. So you get more protein, less calories. So if you're on a high-protein, low-calorie diet, it might be a little more helpful for you. What we'll go to next, we're mixing it up. We aren't doing another Kellogg's product. We're doing a Jimmy Dean's product this time, and we'll continue with the Jimmy Dean for a couple here. So the Jimmy Dean pancake and sausage on a stick. Doesn't sound super appetizing to me, but I know they used to serve something like this in the school lunches. Anyway, what we see here is it comes with 12 sticks. It's a little bit more expensive overall per box, but per serving, it ends up being about the same as the waffle, 75 cents per serving, since we have so many more in the box. Knowing that, let's look at what actually comes in the nutritional side of a Jimmy Dean pancake and sausage on a stick. It's important to note this is the original. We will cover the other flavors here in 1 second. So the Jimmy Dean pancake sausage on a stick, while not being, like I said, super appetizing to myself, it does come in with 23% of your fat, 17% of your sodium, 7% of carb, and 6 grams of protein. So far, it's the highest thing we've seen protein-wise, which is nice, but when we look at the rest of it, it kind of falls away. There's a whole lot of vitamin content. The only thing it offers is 10% of iron. When we compare that to the 4 grams of protein we get with all the different nutritional value in the Kellogg's Eggo Nutrigrain, I would say that wins right now. Next, what we'll look at is the Jimmy Dean pancake and sausage blueberry and the French toast and sausage cinnamon. Both of these, almost the exact same thing. Only differences in the ingredients. The cinnamon one has obviously cinnamon. The blueberry has dried, dehydrated blueberries. As you can see here in the photo, it also shows the cinnamon one has 1 gram less of protein. I could not figure out why. The exact same ingredients. My thought is maybe they did slightly less sausage. I'm not sure. we'll continue on as those are the same exact thing, vitamin content and calorie and everything else. What we have next is we're going to go into the Pillsbury Toaster Strudel. Taste-wise, I think this is definitely my favorite. Nutrition-wise, probably not. Weighing in at 350 calories for 2 pastries, meaning that it'll be about 61 cents per serving, or $1.83 overall, as there's 3 servings. What happens when we look at this a little closer, we see there's 5 grams of protein, which kind of surprised me. But what it does also have is 35% of your overall sugar and virtually no vitamins, with only 10% of your iron. A lot of high fructose corn syrup, some modified whey, which apparently is where the protein came in. But when I start looking at some of the ingredients, I had to look up quite a few of them. Most of them were just different names for food coloring and some different preservatives, but I will tell you this, there were quite a few preservatives in it, which is also probably why it's $1.83 overall. Next, we'll look at another product from Pillsbury, another toaster product called a Scrambler. The Toaster Scrambler was $1.50 per container, so a little bit more expensive. A little cheaper actually, but it only comes with 2 per serving, so it does end up being more expensive per container, but less overall. It has 370 calories, which is 20 more than its counterpart with just a bunch of sugar. When we look at it, we see it weighs in with 10 grams of protein, which is pretty high, the highest we've seen so far. The only downside that I see with this is the 30% of your sodium intake. Same thing, pretty much no vitamin other than 15% of your iron. Again, quite a few different preservatives and some food coloring, but nothing too hateful in there. When you look up the different preservatives in there, you don't see anything that's too hateful. What we see next, we'll continue on to the Jimmy Dean's Egg which is kind of interesting. I've never seen this one before. What's nice, though, is it has the highest protein we've seen so far with 14 grams. And what we see is 250 calories, also weighing in at the most we've seen for a Jimmy Dean breakfast, but under what we see for the last thing we looked at, the Toaster Scrambler. If we look at the Jimmy Dean Egg in depth, what we see is it has 35% of your fat, 34% of your sodium, 14 grams, and what really concerns me, though, is it has 58% of your overall cholesterol. Obviously, if you're watching your cholesterol, you should not try the Jimmy Dean Egg. It is fairly high if this is just breakfast. We aren't even considering lunch, dinner, and snacks. The only thing that I had to look up in this was called tetrasodium pyrophosphate, which, when looked up, is not harmful in small doses. Ironically, is actually a laxative, which is kind of strange. Next, we'll go on to another Jimmy Dean product. We will look at the Jimmy Dean Breakfast Bowl. The bacon one was pretty middle of the road. There's a meat lover one. There's also a vegetarian one. I figured I'd choose the one that's kind of middle of the road, just the bacon. Looking at it, it has 400 calories, 38% of your fat. This one weighs in at an insane 98% cholesterol. Yes, you heard me correct. 98% cholesterol. Also has 48% of your sodium, but it does also offer 26 grams of protein. It's a little expensive. It only comes with 1 bowl per serving, and it's $2.64. So while being slightly more expensive, you're also getting a lot more protein. But again, if you're watching your cholesterol, I would stay heavily away from this, as it is a lot of cholesterol. Looking up essentially what I didn't understand in the nutrition box, in the ingredients box, I saw that it had xanthan gum, which when looked up apparently is another pretty familiar ingredient. You take a chain of simple sugars and ferment it, and you get xanthan gum. It's actually pretty common, and there are no known side effects. Last but not least, what we'll be covering this evening is a Special K flatbread breakfast sandwich. Again, I looked at the one that's pretty middle of the road. This one is eggs, spinach, and cheese. There were some that didn't have cheese. There were some vegan options. There were a whole bunch of different things. When looking at it, it comes with 170 calories, 9% of your fat, 37% cholesterol, 24% sodium, 10 grams of protein, 10% iron and calcium. Other than that, not very many vitamins to mention. Again, the only thing that I had to look up was the thing that I mentioned previously with the Jimmy Dean's Breakfast Bowl, the xanthan gum. While being a little strange, again, found that it's not bad at all for you. Overall, when we're looking at what you should get for breakfast, what I would recommend is really looking at what you need. Looking at the calories, looking at the grams of protein, as well though as looking at the cholesterol and the sodium with it. What we've seen with the products we've seen so far, the higher the sodium and the higher the cholesterol, probably higher the chance you have of getting a better protein intake. If you're an athlete, not worried about cholesterol and who needs the extra sodium, I would probably lean towards the Jimmy Dean Breakfast Bowl or even possibly the Jimmy Dean Eggwich, both of which high in protein, also though pretty high in cholesterol. If you're watching your cholesterol, I would go with probably either the Toaster Strudel Strawberry, or you could also go with the Jimmy Dean Pancake Sausage on a Stick, or even the waffles were pretty good, especially that Nutri-Green. Virtually no cholesterol in there. Looking at the other ones, though, I would stick away from definitely the Jimmy Dean Eggwich and the Jimmy Dean Breakfast Bowl. If you're middle of the road, you aren't trying to gain weight, trying to lose weight, you aren't an athlete, pretty sedentary, I honestly would go with either the waffles or the Kellogg's Special K Flatbread Breakfast. The breakfast flatbread from Kellogg's gives a pretty good round breakfast. The only thing it lacks right now is really just some basic vitamins that you could get with the waffles, but it offers considerable more protein. All in all, none of them are hateful unless you're trying to watch your cholesterol. I would, again, just stay away from the cholesterol-filled ones, such as the Scrambler and the Eggwich, if you are. Other than that, none of them look too hateful. I hope this helped. I hope you have a good night.